Hey, buddy. Welcome back.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. We've got over 70 people registered for tonight's Flowgrammer event. I'm really excited. I'm hoping we get I get a helper or two because that would make the day a little bit better.
Yeah,
But
it's
we'll see how
as,
it
as
goes.
you're recording this on November 18th, so that's awesome.
Yeah. Looks like one of our streams isn't working. Oh, the Flowgrammer Twitter. Oh, well, next time we'll worry about that. Let's jump right
That's because
into
of
it.
Cloudflare.
Oh, yeah, it probably is because of Cloudflare. I was having a hard time getting into Cloudflare earlier, and I thought it might have a problem with StreamYard, but so far, so good. And it looks like our streams are up, so I can see us on YouTube. So far, so good.
Good.
And let's jump right into this. Today, we are talking about a massive shift in the crypto landscape that might finally bridge the gap between security and utility. This is an exciting topic. It looks like Bitcoin is about to get the DeFi superpowers that were previously only possible in Ethereum, Neo, and some of these other things that allowed actual programming of the smart contracts, they'd call it, or programming really on chain. What's going on here, John, and why is it important?
Yeah, so it's important because Bitcoin's the godfather of crypto, right? Like it's the first cryptocurrency. It's the first blockchain technology that came out. I think, right? I think it was the first blockchain technology, the first crypto for sure. But it's old, it's archaic, it's slow, it costs a lot, it's expensive. So Arcade, this is from a little bit of ways ago, but it's relevant to cover. But they have this Bitcoin protocol that essentially transforms Bitcoin from digital gold into programmable money without changing Bitcoin's core code. So think of it like adding a powerful new layer on top of Bitcoin that enables instant payments, smart contracts, and financial applications while maintaining the Bitcoin's legendary security, right? So they're calling this the most important Bitcoin innovation since the Lightning Network launched in 2018. But unlike Lightning Network, which has struggled with user experience issues, Arcade has introduced this ARC service providers, or ASPs, that are centralized, but also don't have full custody of user funds. So users can always reclaim their money by publishing cryptographic proof to the blockchain if an ASP tries to cheat them. So what the architecture actually is, so it virtualizes Bitcoin's transaction layer through what's called virtual transaction outputs, or VTXOs, which are off-chain representations of Bitcoin's native unspent transaction outputs, which is UTXOs. So VTXOs, what they do is they enable instant off-chain execution while maintaining unilateral exit paths to Bitcoin, with batch settlements compressing thousands of operations into single Bitcoin transactions, which dramatically reduces the cost. This architecture, the way it's implemented, it preserves Bitcoin's security model while enabling complex financial operations that were previously impossible without wrapped tokens or custodial compromises. I think this is cool. I think this is going to help because, like, we always talk about it, how Ethereum, or actually we don't really talk about crypto too much on here, but Ethereum's talked about as like that's the one for transactions. There's a bunch of other ones that are built specifically for transactions. This is cool because this is kind of bringing Bitcoin into that transaction age of these newer crypto. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely like this. We'll have to see how the more crypto bros and whatnot think about it as more and more it comes out of more of a goes into more commercial use, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it
because it's currently in public beta. Did I lose you or did you lose me? Uh-oh. Cloudflare spikes again. Sounds like you're back.
I just got disconnected.
It sounds like you're back. Maybe. Hey, John. I hear a breath every once in a while.
Am I back?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I just got disconnected. Maybe I'm experiencing Cloudflare issue. I don't know.
I was wondering. All right. Okay, so let's get back to the fact we were talking about right now. This is in public beta.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see how that goes. And that's where we kind of left off.
Yeah. So what this is we're witnessing what could be Bitcoin's kind of iPhone moment, I like to call it. So for 15 years, Bitcoin's been like the world's most secure or decentralized money, right? But it's been like having a powerful computer that can only run one program, right? So if I can put it into perspective, Arcane changes that by turning Bitcoin into a programmable financial platform without compromising what makes it valuable in the first place. And what's brilliant is that it doesn't require any changes to Bitcoin's core protocol. So it's like building a sophisticated operating system on top of the foundation, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And they've built in some pre-signed exit paths, even if ASPs become unavailable or act maliciously, because it's a pre-signed exit mechanism works like having a master key to your funds that only you control. Even if the entire arcade network disappears tomorrow, users can still access their Bitcoin using these pre-signed transactions. This approach maintains Bitcoin's core principle of self-custody while enabling advanced functionality. Is it complicated that you know of to keep a handle on these pre-signed transactions?
I'm not sure, and maybe we could bring on a crypto expert to talk about this at another time. But so it's I obviously they're developing this to handle all of that if there is any complexity. But yeah, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure how complex it is. No.
And that's fair. And normally, with your wallets and stuff, they handle that now. Their digital wallets have become so advanced that it sounds like just an upgrade.
Yeah, it does sound like an upgrade. So, but that being said, as we're talking about, I think Bitcoin has dropped to 90,000 right now, and it's expected to drop even further. So, obviously, us covering this has nothing to do with that. We're just talking about where it's at right now.
It's got to be us covering it that's driving.
No. What I'm saying is like, sorry. What I mean by Arcane has nothing to do. Arcade has nothing to do with Bitcoin.
Yes,
this is older days. Yeah.
This is really cool. I really want to see what they start to do with this, and to see, along with anything cool like this, now we can build apps and program grammatically, work with our money right on Bitcoin instead of having to move it in and out of something else to get stuff done and then moving it back. Whether this continues to scale when people start pounding it, and whether it continues to be reliable. When I go back to, I remember when CryptoKitties hit. Was it CryptoKitties? And it slowed
on
the Ethereum blockchain.
On Ethereum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it thrown it like this has a lot of that stuff looks like built in, but I'm using that as an example of you don't know what happens when you put these things into production and people start building on it. And then the first app that has 10 million people using it for whatever reason, what does that do, right? So yeah. I'm curious to see as it goes. I think people are leery now and they've learned some lessons there, but I'm curious to see how this goes. It sounds like they hold those chains for the transactions for a while until they fill up a whole queue, and then they send them, and that could take a while. We at this point we don't really know the delay in that, so how long it takes to affect the actual on-chain balance.
Yeah, and there's a couple like risks and challenges still, right? So like with the ASP centralization, so while it's mathematically non-custodial, ASPs do create a point of centralization, whereas current structure is decentralized kind of thing. So there is some technical complexity. So the developer learning curve for VTXO for that programming model is technically complex. There's network effects. So they're competing with established ecosystems on other chains. And also there's potential scaling limits. So batch settlement still depends on Bitcoin's base layer throughput, which is slow. So there are some challenges. I don't know if they're going to be able to overcome them, but I like that they're taking Bitcoin. I don't even know. You can't even say into the 21st century because it is a 21st century technology. I don't know, but yeah, they're definitely advancing it for sure.
So for our builder community out there, the TypeScript SDK enables web developers to integrate the Bitcoin DeFi functionality into existing applications without learning specialized blockchain programming language. Golang and Rust SDK caters to system programmers who need high performance backends for trading systems, analytic platforms, and infrastructure tools. So these SDKs provide low-level access to Arcade's capabilities while maintaining safety. So go check them out. There's a link in torontostarts.com. And so is this the upgrade that finally turns Bitcoin into the world's financial operating system, or just another complex layer? We'd love to hear if you would trust your savings to VTXO. Let us know with your comments. Today we're driving into another Today we're driving into another breakthrough that sounds like science fiction, but is happening right now in Austin, Texas. It looks like we are finally moving past spell checking our DNA and moving toward a replace all button for incurable diseases. Researchers have developed a new technology called gene editing Retrons that is roughly 20 times more efficient than current methods. Instead of fixing one tiny genetic typo at a time, this tool can swap out entire paragraphs of faulty DNA safely. This could be the key to curing complex diseases like cystic fibrosis that have stumped scientists for decades. What do you think about this, John?
I love this, and strictly because they talk about cystic fibrosis, and I lost a sister to cystic fibrosis. But regardless, I love it because, and by the way, I think it's pronounced Retrons, but I could be wrong. Who knows? But so this is exciting because many genetic diseases like CF, they're caused by hundreds or even thousands of different mutations. So current gene editing tools like CRISPR, they can typically only fix one or two specific mutations. So that means that therapies work for some patients, but leave many others behind. So the new Retron-based system can replace large defective sections of DNA with healthy versions, which means that you could potentially treat patients with different mutation combinations using a single therapy. And this is staggering, the improvement here, because previous attempts to use Retrons in human cells only worked about 1.5% of the time. This new method succeeds about 30% of targeted cells with potential for even higher rates. So this could democratize gene therapy by making it financially viable to treat rare mutation combinations that affect small patient populations. I absolutely am excited for this. This is great. What are your thoughts on this?
I think this is amazing. We're getting all sorts of new gene editing tools now that, you know, they've done much more to map the genome, and we have tools like CRISPR, and this really takes CRISPR to the next level where, you know, like CRISPR is like checking for one specific typo in a document. This is like, you know, replacing a whole paragraph or page at a time with a corrected, fully corrected version. Which means you can move through things so much faster. There's less, I guess, cuts, maybe, for lack of a better word, because you're doing it in bulk. And I'm not 100% sure if that's true, just because I don't know how that works exactly. But the precision and control offers it offers more precise precision and control. I don't know why I can't say that this morning. To conventional gene editing techniques, this precision comes from natural cellular processes that guide DNA replacement mechanism. This system works well with cell existing machinery rather than forcing foreign processes. So all these changes make it, you know, the 20-fold increase in why it's working like 20-fold times better, or
Exactly.
yeah. So it's cheaper. cures more, broader, could do hemophilia, Tay Sachs, other complex genetic conditions. Go ahead, John.
Yeah. So for those of you that still don't get how awesome this is, imagine this. Imagine having a genetic disease, but being told that while a cure exists, it wasn't designed for your specific version of the disease. So that's essentially the reality for thousands of patients with genetic disorders like cystic fibrosis, where over 1,000 different mutations can cause the same disease. What we're seeing with this Retron breakthrough is essentially the development of universal gene therapy, one treatment that could work across hundreds of different mutation types. And that's the key here. And like they've already achieved 30% accuracy. I love this. I think they're on a path. They could get close to 100. But obviously there's some regulatory pathways, some safety considerations. So what the FDA has established is they've established precedents for gene editing therapies, right? But Retron's approach with RNA-based delivery and the lack of permanent DNA integration, it could actually enable faster regulatory pathways. And the lipid nanoparticle delivery system, it already has extensive safety data from COVID vaccine deployment. So that could potentially reduce regulatory hurdles compared to viral vector approaches that we've covered before. So I think this is huge. I think this is amazing. I think this is this has real promise to get somewhere viable sooner rather than later.
Yeah, currently it's really expensive, even though the goal is to make it cheaper. You know, early gene therapies are historically incredibly expensive. I think once they start narrowing it down and finalizing, it'll get cheaper when they productize it, I guess. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm like, stuff coming out of Texas is amazing these days. Some of the university studies and MIT. And the things that could potentially be solved by this. I'm really excited about this technology and where we're potentially going to go with it. At the same time, I guess there's always what happens if this kind of thing gets in the wrong hands.
For sure. Yeah.
So that's a potential scary thing, but let's leave that for another day. How about that?
Yeah. So like, just to kind of put this, you were talking about how expensive it is, right? So the first CRISPR gene editing therapy that was approved by the FDA in December of 2023 for treating sickle cell disease, that was a price tag of between $2 to $3 million per patient. And the company says this is because the treatment regimen is so complex. It involves hospital stay, doctors remove the bone marrow, edit the cells, and then transplant them back. And so this complex procedure highlights why simpler, more accessible approaches like the Retron system are really needed. So like, there are systems out there, again, like we talked about, but those are specific. They're not multifaceted as far as what they can handle. They're like one or two mutations, right? So hopefully if this is more of a multi mutation approach, that will reduce the cost, but we'll see.
Absolutely. And this bacterial retrons allow scientists, or retrons allow scientists, to edit genes with unprecedented efficiency and precision in living cells. So this opens new doors for treating a whole bunch of genetic diseases once considered completely incurable by medicine. It's incredible to see how we are borrowing tools from bacteria to fix our own code. We'll be watching at U of T in Austin closely to see when this moves from fish tanks to pharmacies, and we'll let you know. That's right. Let's dive into a breakthrough that connects artificial intelligence with the trillions of bacteria living inside your gut. It turns out that AI might be the key to unlocking personalized medicine by decoding the complex signals between our microbiome and our brain. Researchers have developed a new AI system called VBains or VBase MM, that maps how specific gut bacteria affect our health with unprecedented accuracy by separating real biological signals from statistical noise. This technology paves the way for treatments tailored specifically to your unique internal ecosystem, moving us away from guesswork and towards precision health. Everybody's talking about gut health. John, what do you think about this?
Everyone's talking about gut health. And the thing that they're talking about now is that your gut is essentially your second brain. And it's so complex. And there's so much, there are so many diseases, so many ailments and things that are tied to gut health, which is crazy. And I've been learning about it through my supplement protocol and all that. It's crazy. So this AI system called Variational Bayesian Microbiome Multiomics, VBase MM, I'm going to refer to it as. So it can finally decode that secret language between gut bacteria and human health. So think of it like this. Your gut, it's a bustling metropolis. There's over 100 trillion bacterial residents in your gut, and more than triple the number of human cells in your entire body. Okay, that's crazy. So these microscopic inhabitants are constantly producing chemical messages called metabolites that influence everything from your immune system to your mood and even brain function. And so, like you touched on, the challenge has been trying to understand the conversation in a crowded stadium where thousands of different speakers are talking simultaneously in different languages. And so, traditionally, analysis methods couldn't reliably distinguish between meaningful biological relationships from random statistical noise. And so this new AI system, it acts like a translator that not only identifies which bacteria are saying what, but also measures how confident we can be in those translations. And when they tested it on real patient data from studies on obesity, sleep disorders, and cancer, VBase MM consistently outperformed existing methods and identified specific bacterial families that aligned with known biological processes. So this breakthrough is awesome because it could lead to personalized treatments where doctors could potentially grow specific bacteria to produce beneficial metabolites or design targeted therapies based on an individual's unique microbial fingerprint. I think this is another huge breakthrough because there's so much about the gut that we don't understand, that we're just starting to understand. I think this is that breakthrough that's going to help us cross that barrier. What do you think?
This is great. I hope it is the breakthrough that helps us cross that barrier. And I liked your analogy, 100 trillion people all shouting at once and stuff and trying to make the noise. When I read this, I was thinking it's like the superhero first gains his hearing powers and he just hears everything all the time and he can't figure out what's going on. And then eventually figures it out. It can narrate in on each voice and find out what's happening and know that. So scientists now have that capability to narrow in on each of those and saying, this is what's happening here and this is what's happening here, and figure all that out with this new system versus it just being a bunch of noise and we're trying to guess at what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about this is that one of the most significant advantages of this is that its ability to handle and communicate uncertainty, which means that it provides researchers with trustworthy insights that acknowledge the limitations of the current knowledge rather than making overconfident predictions. I think that's key to talk about because it's not just a yes man. It's not just, it's understanding the limitations of the current knowledge. So the traditional machine learning approaches, they would often produce deterministic outputs that can mislead researchers into believing relationships are more certain than the data actually supports. But the Bayesian framework, that inherently models uncertainty, which is critical because it allows researchers to discern not only the presence, but also the reliability of inferred relationships. And that's crucial because of, like we said, over 100 trillion users in your gut, right?
Yeah, I've seen so many startups come about, you swab your stomach, or you give them a sample of your stool, or send off this or send off that, and they tell you what's going wrong, and they give you supplements or probiotics or whatever. And they're thriving. The problem is that, they don't scale very well, and we really still don't know what's going on. I think this is going to change that, where we're going to get precision probiotics instead of generic yogurt. We could take a pill containing the exact bacteria your body lacks for a specific issue, like you're saying. Personalized diets that could receive a food plan designed to feed specific good bacteria in your gut or to treat sleep disorders or obesity. Better disease detection. They could scan your gut bacteria to detect early signs of cancer or diabetes before symptoms appear. This is currently in the research phase, but it's been validated in studies. It's just not yet a consumer product. So we expect widespread adoption will take several years due to the need for regulatory approval and integration in the healthcare systems.
Yeah. But the timing of this, it's with explosive growth in gut-brain axis research, and particularly regarding the autism spectrum disorder, ASD, and other neurological conditions. So what's crazy is that recent studies have found that children with ASD have distinct differences in gut microbiota composition compared to neurotypical siblings, with 8 bacterial genetic sequences more likely to be present and 3 sequences less likely in autism cases. So the gut-brain axis represents a bidirectional communication network where bacterial metabolites can influence brain function within milliseconds. And that could potentially modulate sensory cells that are just 2 synapses away from brain processing centers. That is what's crazy about this, is that your gut can influence your brain, and that's crazy.
Yeah, more and more the science and studies have come to prove that now, that it has a huge impact, and it has a huge impact on your sleep. So there's, it's like, what was that old saying from Heroes? Save the cheerleaders, save the world, save your gut, save your life. Maybe we should be thinking about now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So we are ready. Are we ready to let AI analyze our gut for a custom health plan, or is it a little too close for comfort? Let me know what you think. We'll be watching this technology closely as it moves from lab to the clinic, but would you sign up for this? And how much would you pay for something like this overall? If they're sending you probiotics and medicine and stuff, you think this is going to be a $50 plan, a $100 plan, a $500 plan per month? What's this going to look like? Let us know your comments. Because we still don't know pricing.
No. But it's still, yeah.
It's all going to be up to the pharmaceutical companies, right, at that stage. Yeah. All right. Is that right? That's right. Today, we're going to look at a breakthrough that sounds like science fiction, but is happening right now in a lab at UC Santa Barbara. Imagine a compass so sensitive it can detect the magnetic field of a single atom. We're talking about a technology that could completely rewrite the rules of medicine, navigation, and environmental science. Researchers are using synthetic diamonds with specific atomic defects called nitrogen vacancy centers to build quantum sensors. By using quantum effect called entanglement, they link these defects together to measure magnetic fields with mind-blowing precision. This isn't just better sensing, ability to see inside living cells without damaging them and navigating without GPS. What's going on here, John?
Yeah, so I love this. This is super cool. By the way, the difference between a lab-grown diamond, like if you're just growing a lot, like without specific flaws, and a natural diamond, there's no difference. But they're trying to say there is, but there isn't. But this breakthrough, it's about spin squeezing, which is a quantum phenomenon where multiple sensors become entangled and work together to beat the fundamental limits of classical physics. So we're getting into that magic stuff now. So imagine trying to measure something very precisely with a ruler marked in centimeters, but by using quantum entanglement, you can suddenly measure things smaller than millimeters. So the thing is that this isn't just theoretical. They've actually demonstrated that it works at room temperature. And that's critical because we talk about everything quantum needs to be cool to Kelvin degrees, right? So this happens in room temperature in solid diamonds, which makes it practical for real world applications. And these implications and applications are staggering. These quantum diamond sensors, it could revolutionize medical diagnostics by detecting single cancer cells, imaging brain activity with cellular resolution, or even performing MRI-like scans of individual proteins. So we're talking about the ability to see biological processes at the molecular level in living systems, which was impossible before, absolutely impossible. This is awesome. I really love this. I love that like this is happening at room temperature in a diamond that can be made by man in a lab. What are your thoughts?
This is incredible. This is just incredible that we're now able to measure things that were previously invisible. That allows for non-invasive imaging. You can look inside a cell or a material at the atomic level without cutting it open or destroying it. Through a process called quantum squeezing, they reduce background noise, making the signal incredibly clear. I really love this. Doctors could diagnose diseases early by detecting unique magnetic signatures of cancer cells or watching how drugs move through your body in real time. GPS-free navigation, we already talked about. Your car or phone can navigate underground, underwater, by locking onto the Earth's magnetic field anomalies, meaning you never lose signal in a tunnel or anywhere else again, or bounce off buildings. Yeah. We could detect pollutants in water or air at the molecular level long before they become a health hazard. This is really cool.
Yeah. And the only real challenge, I think, or maybe one of the biggest challenges is the random incorporation of nitrogen atoms during diamond growth, because the spatial arrangement of the NV centers, the spatial arrangement of NV centers, it directly affects the strength of dipolar interactions and the achievable level of spin squeezing. So the researchers apparently addressed this through careful substrate selection, which they used a specific diamond with controlled miscut angles, and they optimized growth conditions that favor 2D incorporation and post-processing techniques that maximize NV density while maintaining coherence. So their future developments are going to be focused on deterministic placement of individual NV centers, and they're going to use, I think, ion implantation, or they're going to try other techniques that could dramatically enhance performance. So they've already got a working diamond like this, but obviously there's challenges in scalability and all that sort of stuff. So they're focusing on enhancing that performance, which is great, because I think that's the next step in this, since they already have a proven prototype.
Yeah, and these ultra pure lab grown diamonds are expensive. However, they're dropping, prices are dropping from millions to thousands. So they continue as they continue the process, it gets cheaper. And the sensors are fragile. They get close to a surface, quantum decoherence happens. Basically, the environment destroys the quantum state. And making one is hard. Making millions perfectly is extremely difficult. So they need to arrange the atoms like quantum chessboard, which is a massive engineering hurdle. So this is very interesting, but we'll have to see whether they can actually pull off these massive engineering hurdles to turn it into a production.
Yeah. And like, obviously there's regulatory hurdles like FDA clearance, and they're going to have to get FDA clearance for each specific medical diagnostic applications. I don't think they're going to be able to just get a blanket. I think it's going to have to be for each specific, which makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited for this. Yeah.
I'm excited for this too. This is fascinating to think that the key to the future of high tech might be hidden inside tiny flaws in a diamond. We'll be watching as the team at UCSB closely as they try to scale this up, and we'll let you know any changes. So let us know. Would you trust a navigation system that relies on magnetic fields instead of satellites? How soon would you grab one, and how important is this to you in your future? Leave a comment below. Feels like a lot of quantum today. But different stuff.
Yeah. This is actual quantum that we've covered. So this is an extension of quantum computing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not complaining.
Oh,
I mean,
no, yeah. Just for those listeners listening. Yeah.
You know, quantum mechanics and quantum physics are completely different. I'm not trying to
yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
All right. Are we have I got everything here? Yes. Okay. Today, we're talking about a massive leap forward in computing history. Harvard researchers have just cracked the code that has stumped physics for 30 years, potentially bringing us decades closer to a true quantum revolution. Harvard researchers have built a quantum computer system that actually gets more accurate as you make it bigger. Previously, making them bigger made them crash faster. They used lasers to trap 448 atoms and corrected errors in real time, which is the holy grail for making these computers useful. Historically, the problem with quantum computers is the errors, because you never can tell whether you actually got a correct result or it's just another error that happened to error out on this correction. But they're getting closer and closer, and there's lots of technologies that seem to be handling this in different ways. But this sounds like it really has taken that a step further.
Yeah.
What's going on here, John?
Yeah, I think this is another one of those breakthroughs that's going to help us bring up that timeline for quantum computing, practical quantum. So Harvard system, what they did was it employs surface codes, which is a leading quantum error correcting code that arranges physical qubits in a 2D grid structure using up to 288 atoms arranged in code blocks. So the team used optical tweezers to trap and control arrays of rubidium atoms, with each atom serving as either data or ancillary qubits that are moved and entangled using precisely calibrated laser pulses. The surface code operates through repeated stabilizer measurements, which are a combination of qubits that reveal whether an error has occurred without actually measuring the quantum state directly. So that, which obviously would destroy the quantum information. So each round of error correction, it involves measuring stabilizers followed by classical decoding using machine learning-based algorithms, which are optimized to handle atom loss, which is a common problem in neutral atom setups. So the way the system works is it leverages what they're calling quote-unquote super checks, which are products of multiple stabilizers that remain valid even when individual stabilizers fail due to atom loss, which provides redundant error detection. And based on what I've read and based on this thing, this breakthrough could mean we see practical quantum computers in the next 5 to 10 years. What do you think about this? Do you think this is the breakthrough that we've been waiting for, Craig, with error correction, or is this just another potential?
This is another potential. I mean, I think we've seen a lot of technologies where, you know, some of the chips are building, you know, they build, say, a 7-qubit chip where 4 qubits are for error correction and 3 are for processing or something like that. So as we get to better and better processing, and the more you add, the less errors we have, that is going to scale much better than our current situation, where the more you scale, the more errors we have, and where things break. And if we can actually get to long running systems, because that's the problem, is they can only run for, you know, minutes at a time right now before they start to, you know, lack of a better word, blue screen of death. Lack of a better relatable metaphor. But if this error correction will allow them to do hours, that's, you know, fantastic. And, you know, taking these things to the next level. Yeah, I agree. This is a potential. Building a machine with millions of qubits needed for the big stuff is likely 10 plus years away. So we're going to be, you know, from that point of view, but we'd like to see the error correction in 5 years or so we can start building moderately qubit machines to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So let's put this into perspective, right? I'll just try to put it into a different perspective. So imagine trying to perform surgery while riding a roller coaster during an earthquake. And that's essentially what quantum computers have been trying to do. Perform incredibly delicate calculations while being bombarded by noise from the environment. And so this breakthrough, it could represent the first time researchers have successfully built quantum, let's call it noise canceling headphones that get better as you scale up the system, to put it into perspective, right? I know we actually covered, I think, another quantum error correction that got better with the larger amount, but this is different. This is a different approach to it.
Yeah, and fault-tolerant quantum computing opens doors to applications previously considered impossible. Molecular simulation for new pharmaceutical compounds, protein folding prediction for disease treatment, personalized medicine based on quantum analyzed genetic data, breaking current encryption methods, developing quantum resistant security protocols, and secure quantum communication networks. Also in artificial intelligence, quantum machine learning algorithms, optimization problems in AI training, and pattern recognition in massive data sets. In finance and economics, it's risk analysis and portfolio optimization, real-time fraud detection systems, high-frequency trading algorithms. In material science, the design of new materials with specific properties, catalyst development for clean energy, and semiconductor research. Like, it will change like everything.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where this is going and this breakthrough. Let's hope it gets out of the lab and the quantum computing companies start using this and it works.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have finally crossed the threshold where bigger actually means better in the quantum world. Does this make you more optimistic about seeing quantum breakthroughs in your lifetime? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, this one confused me a little bit, but we'll get into it. Well, I'll tell you, because it contradicts itself in a couple of places, and I'll bring it up in a minute.
Okay.
So let's talk about this breakthrough that sounds, again, like pure science fiction, but it's actually happening right now at MIT. Imagine if you could talk to your computer, ask for a translation, or send a text message without even opening your mouth. This is an exciting topic that redefines what hands-free actually means. So we're looking at the alter ego device from MIT Media Lab, which is a wearable headset that reads the electrical signals in your jaw and face when you talk to yourself inside your head. It allows you to communicate with AI-controlled devices and get information completely silently, making it the ultimate non-invasive interface for the future. What's going on here, John?
Yeah. So I don't know if this is going to give Elon Musk a run for his money, but so the thing, it looks, I don't know if you have a picture of it, but it looks like a lightweight headset that wraps around your ear and jaw. So when you, quote unquote, talk silently to yourself, like when you're reading and hear your internal voice, tiny electrodes detect the faint electrical signals your brain sends to your face and throat muscles. And advanced machine learning software instantly translate these signals into text or commands that can control any connected device. So, unlike the invasive brain implants like Neuralink that require surgery, alter ego, it simply sits on your skin and works immediately. So you get responses through bone conduction audio that only you can hear. So it's like having a private conversation with any computer or AI, even in a crowded room where nobody else knows you're communicating. So I think this is cool because the technology could revolutionize how we interact with devices, help people with speech disabilities communicate, and it could create the first practical, quote unquote, telepathic interface between humans and artificial intelligence. What is your problem with this one? Or what are your questions about this one?
I don't have a problem with it, but they go out of the way. They say it's not reading your mind, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it's reading your internal dialogue, but only if you intend to vocalize it, but even if you don't move your muscle and your jaw. And I'm like, there's some stuff in there that doesn't make sense. So either you're reading my internal dialogue, which is all over the friggin' place, so it's going to be a problem with people like me, or I have to kind of intend to speak it but don't speak it. That's what there seems to be a little bit of a counter thing in there. What was your understanding of that part, John?
Yeah, so they're kind of contradicting because your brain is constantly sending electrical signals, right? Even when you're not moving. So, like, how is it going to distinguish between what you're intended to communicate versus what you weren't intending to communicate, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have to see like when they actually demonstrate it, but based on what they're saying, there's a lot that they have to. But again, who knows? Maybe it takes a learning curve with the AI and ML to understand. Like, it's for each individual person to understand. But I can't see how it's going to be able to distinguish, because especially like you and I, with people with ADHD, like you said, like there's so much going on in our brains that there's so much noise, right?
There is so much noise. And I'm curious to see how it weeds that out. So we're still having Cloudflare issues, but let's just see. I don't think the video is going to come up because it's Cloudflare, but I was looking for an image, but I'm not seeing anything.
Okay.
All right. Too bad. I couldn't get the other link we were using up because of Cloudflare. So it is what it is. I'd love to take a look at that. That was the only thing that I had an issue with it, as it kind of contradicted itself as part of like what actually gets picked up. Do you have to intent it? I don't understand the intent versus just thinking through something in my mind, because I have an internal dialogue running all the time, but I know people don't. Not everybody. So I'm like, that's my only issue. Go ahead.
The thing with this one, though, is it's not new. This has been in development for 7 years. So, like, I'm curious to know where their advancements, where the actual advancements are in the last 7 years, as far as the separating the noise from the actual talk. But it doesn't cover that.
Yeah, so even in early trials, the system achieved 92% accuracy, recognizing silent commands. It's not mind reading. It technically does not read your mind. It reads instructions. Your brain sends to your mouth. If you don't sub-vocalize intend to speak, it doesn't pick it up. But then it says, but you don't actually have to move your muscles or jaw or anything. So that is the thing I don't really get, but it's got it figured out. I guess it's just something I want to try. Figure out if it fills that out. And secondly, I always have that thing in my head. It's like, great. So you say, and when you hook it up, the AI or whatever maybe filters out the noise from what I'm trying to vocalize, but that doesn't mean it's not picking the other stuff up. Like, I don't understand if pick this up or pick that up. So that's a paranoid in me. The bone conduction audio seems to work really well. I've seen a lot of people use that. Sorry, let me just switch that off. Instead of detecting sound waves from your voice, these systems use EMG, speech recognition, to capture the electrical signals the muscle produces when you internally verbalize words. So I'm not 100% sure what that means.
Yeah,
like I said, done with that, but I love this technology because it is moving forward. And what you can do from an interface, like, this is way better than talking to your speakerphone.
Yeah, and it's better than the invasive surgeries that you needed for the other ones, if they can get it.
Neuralink and the other BCIs, yes.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think about this. Is this would you wear a device that listens to your voice inside your head? Sounds wild, but for many, it could be the key to unlocking a new level of productivity or freedom. Let me know what you think, and we'll be watching this one closely. So let me get back to here. Yeah. And what do you got going on, John?
Yeah. Just gearing up. Is this coming out in December?
Yeah, December might even be January now, actually.
Okay, gearing up for the holidays or gearing down from the holidays. So planning out my next few months and ramping up for shred season. How about you, Craig?
Well, we're wrapping up 2025 and planning 2026. So this is probably too late for the Start Investor Drinks and Flowgrammer events in December, but take a look for them in January. There's always stuff going on. Check out torontostarts.com for our startup and business related events and resources. And check out flowgrammer.ca for our business and AI automation information if you're looking for that. And if you're a builder in Toronto and you want to join the Flowgrammer Builders Club, head over to flowgrammers.ca. That website is live now. Go check it out. Join us. And at our live events, we do online stuff. We do live office hours every week. Go over there and sign up. There's downloaded workflows and tools you can test and play with. So check all that stuff out. But John, if people are looking for non-dilutive funding, where do they go?
Yeah, come find me on LinkedIn. I've got a link. You can book some time with me or send me a message so that we can have a conversation first. But find me on LinkedIn, John Irwin, no H. But if you need help with your business overall with your startup, how do they get in touch with you, Craig?
Head over to startupcoach.ca or torontostarts.com. And just book a call with me, get a discovery call, find out what's going on and get you motivated. If you're not interested in that, come out to one of our events, talk to other founders and whatnot, and just talk to people. It really is knowing that you're not alone can motivate you a lot. But other than that, give us a call or book a meeting over at torontostarts.com. And thanks, everyone, for listening or watching. And hope to talk to you again soon.
Give me a second.